Welcome to Scorched Earth. This is going to be a general reading for the sign of Cancer, Sun, Moon and Ascendant for the month of April. If you don't know what your Moon or Ascendant signs are, have a look in the description box below. There's a link down there that will help you. Sorry, I just got completely broadsided by a comment that I read last night and someone said I was so fucking boring. And this just popped out of nowhere into my head. Anyway. Sorry. Thank you to all those people who do not find me so fucking boring and subscribe, continue to subscribe and like and share the videos, comment nice things, send me messages and donate. I appreciate every single one of you. And that comment alone has made me appreciate the fuck out of you even more. Those who stay with me so fucking hell. Right, let's go do a good shuffle. I hope you're well, Cancer. Oh, I'm proper tickled. Let's get those the right way around. Right, I've had a good shuffle. Let's get you some cards. I have 3 cards, please, for Cancer. For the month of April. There's the first one, the Emperor. 2 more cards for Cancer, please. Page of Swords, your current energy, and what's coming towards Cancer in April, please. That one. The 9 of Swords. Don't panic, we'll get into it, we'll have a look. At the bottom of the deck, we've got the 4 of Pentacles, which talks about needing to release things. And the 7 of Wands directly underneath that, which is feeling defensive and guarded often. Protective sometimes. Right, let's get you some clarifiers. Yeah, give these a good shuffle as well. I'll cut the deck and the 4 of Pentacles is there also. So this is an important takeaway message, if nothing else. Should do. Right, why is the Emperor here, please? Ooh. Got the 4 of Cups. Why is the Emperor here for Cancer, please? And there you are. It's the Moon. It's the card of Cancer for me in the Major Arcana. It's numbered 18. Cool. Right. Why is the Page of Swords here, please? We've got the King of Cups and the 5 of Cups. Interesting. And why is the 9 of Swords here for Cancer? Got a million cards falling and flipping and all sorts of things, but not jumping. Right, let's get these straight. You two. Seems like there's a lot going on with you. Let's see. Why is the 9 of Swords here for Cancer, please? Page of Pentacles. And the Ace of Wands. Right. The 8 of Pentacles has dropped out, but it's fallen sideways. I'm just going to put it underneath these 2 cards here because I feel like it's probably relevant. It's just sitting there nicely. At the bottom of the deck, we've got the Star, followed by the 10 of Swords. Right? The Star is the card of Aquarius, but this thing, this tarot reading itchy nose, like it's totally a thing. It's infuriating. So, the first card that you've got is the Emperor. Right? And this talks about taking control of things, right? And it's in your kind of recent past, touching on your present, right? It's taking control of things or being in control of things. And I cannot quite remember what your reading was about last month, but I do recall the Emperor appearing somewhere. you getting on top of things, I think. Because certainly over the last few months, there's been a sense of things taking control of you. You've been very emotional. You're kind of ping-ponging from one emotional reaction to another. And when the Emperor comes in, it's about centering yourself. I think it's quite a grounded card, even though it's fire energy. Because the Emperor has a whole empire to run, and he cannot do it if he's at the mercy of emotional reactions to things. It's a card of stepping back. It's a card of objectivity, and it's a card of getting all your ducks in a row, maybe all your crows in a row, right? And taking control of those things that have had you flopping around. And it's been quite hard work. We've got these big mountains in the background, and what you've achieved in the recent past is actually really quite admirable. It's clarified by these two cards here, which is the Four of Cups and the Moon. Now, the Moon is your card, but it also talks about things that are hidden. It talks about the subconscious. It talks about the things that bubble along underneath, right? And what's bubbling along underneath is your refusal to engage with situations anymore on that level, right? We've got this Four of Cups here, and that talks about, sometimes it can talk about missed opportunities, but I'm not seeing it here. It can often talk about taking things for granted and things like that, but like what I'm really seeing here is you just refusing to engage with emotional power plays, right? People pressing your buttons, actually, is what I'm seeing there. Because this is what had you in this state of flux, going from one emotion to another, right? And while you're drowning in your own emotions, you are not in charge of what's going on around you. And I think that you realised that this was what was going on. And you said, no, this is enough. And there's, so he's refusing to take this cup. He's refusing to engage, just refusing altogether. No, not having it. And I do feel like there was some low-key manipulation going on here. Like, I want to pull another card to clarify it, but it feels like you were dealing with someone who had you in this state. And you kind of twigged that that was what was going on. Four of Cups and the Moon, please. King of Cups. Now that's interesting because that's the second time the King of Cups has appeared here. So we've got the King of Cups and the Three of Cups. Now, I would be remiss if I didn't mention the fact that often for me the Three of Cups indicates a third-party situation, right? And that doesn't need to be another woman or another man, but it can. It can sometimes be work, it can be things that interfere with with the way that you live your life, right? And this King of Cups seems to have had something to do with it. Could be a Cancer, Pisces, Scorpio, possible, strictly Scorpio. But look at this, right? Got this Four of Cups here. And you refusing to engage with this anymore. And then there's a cup in every single one of the hands of these three women here, plus this one cup here, right? I think this is the case. I think that this is a situation that you found yourself in, and you are absolutely not playing that game anymore, right? And that's excellent. If you're not in a third-party situation, there's a sense of you isolating yourself, and obviously we're all kind of isolated, but pulling back from people who might low-key be manipulating you. It doesn't have to be in a romantic sense. It could be just be in your friend group, something. You just realise that there are some real toxic bitches in your environment, and you're just not playing with them anymore, right? Keeping yourself out of the way, keeping yourself strong. And that
is really important, because that's what allowed you to get on top of everything. You know, when that outside interference, that low-key manipulation and toxic behaviour was out of the way, then you were free to take a step back, mentally relax, and allow yourself to start working on the other bits of your life that were kind of falling over, I guess. In your present energy, we've got the Page of Swords. And all of the Swords cards talk about words and communications and thoughts and things like that, right? And sometimes the Page of Swords can be a spy, right? Because the pages go off and they relay messages between the kings. That's their purpose. But sometimes they're gathering information to report back. Yeah? But I don't feel like this is it. I feel like this is you having received a message. This is in your current state. And the message is from the King of Cups. Now, to clarify the King of Cups, we've got the Five of Cups. Now, the Five of Cups talks about grief. It talks about loss. Right? Some people call it the crying over spilt milk card, and I really hate that, because I think the fives are an unstable energy, right? And crying over spilt milk is a rather petty way to describe what I see in this card. And this card is someone who's really stuck on these cups that have fallen over. And there are 3 cups that have fallen over, just as there are 3 cups here. And there are 3 cups in this card here. Okay? So I feel like this communication has actually come from your King of Cups. Well, when messages come via a Page of Swords, they're usually true, to be fair, because he has got that Ace of Swords there, right? It's delivering the truth. But because it's a page, it's kind of the lowest step of the court hierarchy. Hasn't quite learned the niceties of court, you know, the diplomacy that comes with the higher ranks of the court structure. And so it tends to be a message that is rather cuttingly and clumsily delivered. It's a truth you don't really want to hear often. And this seems to be what you're dealing with in your current energy. Tell me about this King of Cups and Five of Cups, please. Five of Swords. King of Cups, Five of Cups. The Star again. I'll get one more card. The Empress. Right. At the bottom of the deck here we've got the World now, and that's the end of a cycle, right? It talks about wrapping things up and moving on, right? Because something is done. Now, I don't feel like this Five of Cups is yours. I don't think that this is you grieving over something. I think perhaps you've delivered the message to someone, and maybe it came out a little less gentle than it could have done, and it's put this King of Cups into a state of sorrow, and he's concentrating on these 3 cups here. These are the ones that are kicked over. This is where he's feeling the loss. He's not noticed these 2 cups behind him, and if he turned around and looked at them, he would see that they were there. But the clarifying card for those is the Five of Swords, and that can sometimes be a break in communication, right? It's another 5, it's another unstable energy, it's another shift in circumstances. So it could be that you two are not talking now. That's possible. But it could be that this King of Cups communicating this feeling that he has to you, perhaps, has left you a bit in the dark. Because you're like, hang on, no, you were fucking me around. I'm not doing this anymore. Like, why are you so grief-stricken about this? Oh, we've got the Star and the Empress. It seems like they want to fix things, reopen communication. and tell you how important you are to them. You know, there's a great wish here, there's a great hope. There are two naked women on these cards here, and that talks about vulnerability and openness, you know, not having any fear of being seen in that state. You know, not physically, I mean, but, you know, the emotional vulnerability. The Empress is the mother. And maybe they're the father of your children, maybe they're the mother of your children, something like that. But there is a sense of wanting to reopen communications. There is a sense of wanting to fix things. There is a sense of wanting to put things back together that doesn't exist at the moment. Now, you've got to take this as it resonates to you, and remember that the energies can flip, because I'm just picking up on the energy, right? Whether it's you or whether it's someone else, I don't know. But this is the situation that you're in at the moment, right? What's coming towards you in April is the Nine of Swords, and that... it's a card of insomnia, it's a card of grief, it's a card of overthinking a lot. Right? In Cancer, you are rather prone to that, particularly in things that have an emotional bent, because you're a water sign, right? But what's interesting about this card is when you see the moon up in this corner here, it's actually obscured by all the swords. Right? Now, the moon is your card. Right? We've had it out once already. This is about getting in touch with your subconscious. It's about understanding the things that drive you underneath. Right? It's knowing what your inner space is talking about, right? Or trying to communicate to you. But in this card, your connection to your internal space is blocked by these swords, right? And these swords are your conscious mind. This is the overthinking bit of you, right? And it's in the way. And the thing is, as a general rule, generally speaking, for tarot, when a sword is up, and that's mostly up, it's not as up as I would like it, but it is up, right? It's like the Ace of Swords, and it talks about honesty and integrity and truth, but rationality and clarity of thought, things like that, right? When the swords are down, it means the reverse, right? It's not always true with tarot, but in this case, when it's pointing down, there's usually some sort of underhand behaviour, there's some sort of dishonesty, there's some sort of trickery, you know, there's obfuscation, that kind of thing. These swords are in effectively a neutral position, right? They're stacked up like a ladder. But they're value neutral, right? They are there, they exist. But whether they're positive or negative, to my mind, is entirely down to your perception. And your perception's a little bit off at the moment, I think, because it's blocking your intuition, it's blocking your God, someone's gurgling. It's blocking your connection to your inside world because you are thinking too much about the situation, right? There are 3 crows on this as well. There's one at the bottom. It's kind of looking quite sorrowful. And then there are these 2 above it. So if this is a third-party situation that you've been sat in, like, maybe you're second-guessing yourself, second-guessing the decisions that you made, you know, it's possible, because the 2 clarifiers are the Page of Pentacles and the Ace of Wands. Now, the Page of Pentacles for me is a card of new starts, often, right? Tangible new starts. But more than that, it's a card of really understanding the value of something, right? It's got that pentacle and it's like, wow, that pentacle's absolutely beautiful, right? And then we've got the Ace of Wands, which is a new passion or a renewed passion, right? Often. So this could be a relationship that you're mulling over here. But what I find really interesting is that the cups are absolutely, you know, and conspicuously absent from this. You know, your Page of Pentacles seems to speak about your day-to-day interactions, right? And this has obviously got a fairly heavy sexual component. We're talking about passion and all that kind of thing, you know. And then we come to this Eight of Pentacles. Now, the Eight of Pentacles is about putting the work into something, right? Really working hard at something. This way up, it talks about not putting work into anything. So stepping back and going like, I'm not doing any of this. But this card, as you recall, came out horizontally, right? Just as these swords are horizontal. And it feels like the thing that you're overthinking is whether you're going to do this or going to do this. Because I feel like this is a possibility of starting anew, starting afresh. They're both cards of the new or a renewal thereof. And you don't know what to do about it. And this is where the overthinking's coming in. The thing is, you've got this World card at the bottom of the deck here, you know, which talks about endings. Absolutely. And the Six of Wands being underneath is a card of victory, and it's, you know, it sort of suggests that you did the right thing by doing that. But we've got this star here. We've got this star here as well on the bottom of the deck for the clarifiers. But the card that was directly underneath the star was the Ten of Swords. It seems like if you continue along this route, because there seems to be hope on both sides here that you can fix this, but sometimes just a little bit too much water has gone under the bridge. And maybe the hope is the thing that you need to let go of, actually, because ultimately it's going to graduate you from the 9 to the 10. But all the cups were on this side of the reading. They were on the past and moving into the present, right? And almost, well, they all had a fairly kind of negative feel about them. We'll move over here to what's coming in towards you in the future, right? There, the cups are noticeably, conspicuously absent. Tell me more about this situation here. She says, as the cup card comes out. Now all the cups cards come flying out. So at the bottom of the deck now we've got the Queen of Cups. Whoever this is, there is love between you, and you love them and they love you, even if they've behaved in a fairly shitty way. And these three cards down here are the Page of Cups, Judgment, and the Ace of Cups, right? Now, the Page of Cups for me is like small gestures of love, right? So more often than not, it comes to mean an apology, right? An apology from your King of Cups, I feel. Then we've got the Judgment card and the Ace of Cups. Now, the Judgment card can be making a judgment on things, and maybe that's what you're going to do, you know, because if you're stuck here, you don't know which way to turn, you need to make a judgment about it. But it can also talk about second chances. But more than anything else, it talks about needing to make a decision about something that you have already been involved with, you know, and whether you're going to start anew. Now, this is the Ace of Cups here. But this is what's got you all up in your head. This is what's got you overthinking, right? Is this person's coming forward with this apology. Somebody that you love and, you know, apparently loves you, or at least tells you that they love you, with the promise of renewing something, right? We've got two aces there with the Ace of Cups and the Ace of Wands. And then we've got this Page of Pentacles, which is somebody possibly, you know, recognizing the value that you hold and apologizing. But what seems to be the thing that's got you all up in your head is that you just do not know if this is good for you. Right? That's pretty clear. Which deck don't go with? Oh, a look and see if the tarot has some advice for you. I'll just give this a shuffle. Some advice for Cancer, please. The answer is no, apparently. Okay, lots and lots of flippers, but nothing jumping. So maybe I need to look at this a little bit more. Six of Swords. Death. And Temperance. Right. So there's two major arcana as advice. The first one is the Six of Swords. It talks about moving away from, troubled waters into new. That's the usual depiction. But in this one, this woman's walking away and leaving bloody footprints in the snow. I don't know if you can pick that up. Right. It's it's knowing that even wounded, you're better off somewhere else than where you are over here. You're leaving your bloody footprints in the snow, but you are at least moving away from this situation. Death is the card of endings, yes, but there's also new beginnings. For me, it talks about transformation, ultimately, right? Something about this situation needs to change dramatically, and, that's what you're walking towards. Perhaps the change isn't the situation, but it's a change in you. It's the way you perceive all of these things. And if you're going to step your mind down from this Nine of Swords state that it seems to be in at the moment, then that is going to require a transformation of sorts from you. Because then finally you've got Temperance. These are the cards of Scorpio and Sagittarius, respectively. So if you're dealing with one of those, all good. Judgment is also Scorpio. But the Temperance card talks about healing. It talks about a really, really profound healing, actually. It's numbered 14, which reduces down to a 5, and the 5s, the energy shifts and the conflicts and all that sort of thing. Temperance comes when it's time to heal off the back of those circumstances that have really wounded you. Okay? And that's what you're walking towards, right? Transforming your wounded self, leaving footprints in the snow, through to this Temperance energy here, keeping yourself level and balanced. And there's a snail at the bottom here. And snails for me talk about independence, right? This character appears to be submerged, like from here down, in water, right? Despite the fact that it's a fire card, there's always a heavy presence of water, right? So there's a kind of alchemy going on. It's about transmuting pain, right, and healing yourself and turning it into something positive. But the reason that I mention the snail, as it is here, is that usually you see that on the Nine of Pentacles, and it indicates independence. There's something about this relationship which, although there's love there on both sides, love is not enough in any relationship, right? There has to be respect. There has to be decent behaviour on both sides. But there seems to be a level of codependency here, or at least on this King of Cups side, the ability to press your buttons in whatever way does not augur well, I have to say. But this water is all, it's clear and it's still. So rather than running away from your emotions, which I think to a degree you did in the past when you were looking at this, it's kind of like shutting down altogether so you could focus on the other things that required your attention. Now it's your emotional state that needs attention, and it needs healing, because otherwise you're going to fall back into old patterns of behaviour. Now, you must always use your own, discernment. Never give your autonomy up to a reader. But this person it looks like is coming back with an apology. Coming back with an apology to you, and I want to start again. But if this has all got you all up in your head, and it does, because you're in the Nine of Swords and you've got this Eight of Pentacles, like, do I even want to put the work into this? Yeah. There's a reason why that's happened, and that's what you need to pick apart and have a look at, right? Because my instinct says here that going backwards is not a good move for you. Certainly at the moment, you need time to heal yourself. You need time to balance yourself out. And you need to find your footing with your independence again. It's never say never, certainly, but this is quite a cluttered, emotionally cluttered situation. And it's time to give yourself a little bit of space so you can think clearly about it, right? So I'm going to leave it there. Trying to decide whether I want to do an extended for you or not. We'll see. If I do, it's in the description box. If not, then I will see you next time. Take care.